the MTTFD of the complete safety chain. Input, processing and output.
Safety chain.
The safety chain is input device plus processing device plus output device. Yeah. Your safety architecture.
Okay. Anyway, so we should know about more the MTTFD and the meaning of MTTFD and
mean time to failure.
The diagnostic coverage. Actually, I don't. DC. This is not direct current. And DC is diagnostic coverage. Actually, I don't understand well about the meaning of this word.
Diagnostic coverage.
This is non, medium, high.
Diagnostic coverage here. You can make a very simple. Very simple.
I'm sorry. What is this PDF? What is this?
This is kind of standard. This is standard.
Manual standard.
This is standard EN ISO 13849-1.
I'm sorry?
This is standard EN ISO 13849-1.
Okay, thank you. This is kind of the public documentation.
Kind of public, but there's a big job. They spent 5 years to create this. There are official companies selling access for all this. Like in Schneider Electric, we are using AFNOR. AFNOR. It is a company which is providing one F, AFNOR. Yeah, FNOR. NOR.
Sorry,
AFNOR. No, not L. R.
Okay. Okay, understand. European pronunciation.
Yeah. So this company is worldwide providing Schneider Electric personnel standards.
This is very famous organization, the AFNOR. Lots of vendors, lots of makers, something like the Schneider related with this organization.
Yeah, at least everyone in the industry I know, if they need any standard, they contact AFNOR.
AFNOR.
Yeah, there's an official website. Okay. Yeah. You as a Schneider employee, you can just apply for access. So related to the standards, when you're buying one. When you are buying access to one, you should not share it.
To the customer?
For customers who are not. Even internally, we should not share them, but we do share internally.
AFNOR is something like TÜV?
He has access to the access page.
って会社が日本にあって認証機関のTÜVみたいな。
やっぱそうなんですね。
ここは多分機械メーカーとかにその機械そのものの認証を販売しているので。
ヨーロッパ出すと
そういったところが例えばジョイントでこう線が加えると
はい
ご自身ではない。
なるほど。シュナイダーだったらこんな風に作れてアフノールこんな風に取れますみたいな。
ご自身でもやってました。トゥフとジョイントで。
あ、やっぱりそうですよね。なるほど。まあ安全を売る以上やっぱりそうですよね。そういうところと工夫は。
我々機械全部を認証できないんで、逆に彼らが計算しているところに我々が製品を売るだけなんで、
はい
知ってなきゃいけないんですけど、計算するものは機械メーカーがやるかもしれない。
そういうことですね。
そういうところに選定してもらえるようにコネクションを。
だからマシンソリューションなんで、大体そこもうちでやりますよはできるんですけど、あくまでも安全の計算だけなんで、PLE が欲しいんですけどって言われたらこの機械使わなきゃダメだとかっていうリコメンドだと思ってます。そのレベルの違いがあるとはまだ思います。
まだそこまで行ってないですよ。
For the diagnostic coverage, let's make tiny evaluation. Now,
This is very important, I think.
yes, for diagnostic coverage, if you have negative, if you have minus 12 volts circuitry here between the logic 1 and input 1, and you have plus 12 volts circuitry here in between logic 2 and input 2, you can detect the short circuit between these circuitries, and you can detect the short circuit between 24 volt supply and grounding. So what are all the failure modes between this logic and these two logics and two inputs? Is short circuit to ground, short circuit to plus 24 volts external power supply, short circuit between each other, losing the wire or cutting the circuit from one, cutting the circuit from two. We have 5 different failure modes.
Failure mode of each short circuit.
What we can monitor if we have 12 volts supply, plus 12 volts here and minus 12 volts here. We can detect the short circuit between each other. We can detect the short circuit to ground from each other. We can detect the short circuit to external plus 24 volts from each other, and in case only one wire is cut, we can monitor also that. So theoretically we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different individual failures, and we can detect all the 7. Our diagnostic coverage will be 99.99.
So,
Let's say-
diagnostic coverage. わかった。そうか。
Let's say that we have a 0 volt circuit here and 24 volt circuit here. We can detect the short circuit between each other. We can detect short circuit from at here to external 24 volts, but we cannot detect short circuit to ground. Here we have 24 volt circuit. We can detect the short circuit between each other. We can detect short circuit to ground, but we cannot detect short circuit to external 24 volts. We can detect the cutted circuitry from each other, if not in parallel. So we can detect 6 out of 8. Means our diagnostic coverage at application level will be how much is 6 divided by 8? 3 divided 75% diagnostic coverage.
75%.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Is this now more clear?
Yeah. Can I ask it?
Yeah.
In short, the high level of the diagnostic coverage means we can detect a lot of failure.
Yep.
Is it correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The lower
Understand.
lower the diagnostic coverage percentage, the less we can detect.
That means you.
That's why it is
less safe.
Yeah.
Less safe.
We can observe less. Or we can try to observe, but we find out less.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
DC が高い方がより安全、たくさんのフェイリアを発見できる、細かく観察、モニタリングできるからより安全な装置ということが言えるという意味かと思います。Thank you.
MTTFD, mean time to dangerous failure. Mean time to failure dangerous. Low, medium, high. Low is between 3 years and 10 years. So below 3 years it is not allowed. High, medium is between 10 years and 30 years. High is between 30 years and 100 years. What are the years? It is MTTFD is calculated from number of operations. So how many times, for example, emergency stop is pressed typically a year, or how many times, if the case is of two-hand control station, how many times the two-hand control station for a press function is pressed per year. And there's a B10D value, which is tested with a huge population of for example, contactors. In a partner business unit, LOB, there's a test room where they have a big wall, test room wall, full of contactors, and the contactors are turned on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, and they are calculating the number of products which are failing when 10% of the population is failing. This is the time this is the value for the P10 variable.
P10 variable.
B10. Yeah. So B10 represents the time spent for the 10% of the population failing. B10D value is 10% of the population failing dangerously on the same wall, same population of the contactors, and typically this is 2000 years or something.
Typically this is 2000 years.
2000 years or something. When they make it.
I think this is something like SIL, SIL, SIL 2, SIL 3.
No.
That's completely different.
SIL 1, 2, 3 is equivalent to performance level. So it's a scale of how good is the complete safety architecture. And there's just different way to calculate SIL or evaluate SIL 3 and SIL 1, 2, 3 and performance level A, B, C, D, E. Different way to calculate. And one factor is P10D for both of the SIL 3 and performance level.
But the SIL is equivalent to PL, performance level.
Equivalent as a method.
Method.
Yeah. So I will show you the difference.
Later.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
now
there's a rough comparison. You can say that when
this is good.
When there's SIL 1, for sure, then it is performance level B. When there's SIL 1, for sure, then it is equivalent to performance level C. When there's SIL 2 by calculation, it is equivalent to performance level D. When there's by calculation SIL 3, it is equivalent to performance level E. But when there's calculation by performance level E, it is not 100% guaranteed that you will reach SIL 3. When there's performance level D by calculation, it is not guaranteed that you will have SIL 2. For performance level C, you will have SIL 1, but for performance level B, by calculation, it is not guaranteed that you will have SIL 1. SIL calculation is so much more detailed that it is forming more reliable calculation result. Performance level calculation is a simplified method, and that's why there are in the calculation there comes roundings.
Roundings.
You know the function round in Excel.
Function round. Yes,
so this is causing that from SIL to performance level it is guaranteed, but from performance level to SIL it is not guaranteed equivalence.
both 両方パフォーマンスレベルはSILを保証しない。同じレベルのSILを保証しないけど。
When you or your customer has performed the calculation with SIL formulas, the SIL 3 with SIL 3 calculation you for sure reach also performance level E. But because of the simplified method to calculate performance level, with the result of performance level E, it is not 100% guaranteed that when you create other calculation with SIL, it might be that you don't reach SIL 3 with SIL calculation.
SIL 3 can guarantee PLE, but PLE cannot guarantee SIL 3.
Exactly.
Okay, understand.
It might be just below the SIL 3 level.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Safety functions. I think we don't have much of. Was it 12 or 12:30 for lunch? 12.
We can go 10 minutes later to lunch or
10 minutes?
10 minutes later.
Okay.
Yeah, we can go.
Good.
Before we go to new topic, may I ask you a question?
Sure.
Yeah, how is the procedure in Germany for the OEM? So when one OEM comes to Schneider and tell I'm doing I'm building a packaging machine and I don't have any information about safety, but I want safe machine. So how is the procedure? And
We have several options. We can offer training so that the customer comes. There are, I would assume that something around 40 customer trainings in a year for machine safety. Partly legislation, sometimes only hardware or software, depending on the, let's say, what are the needs of the customer. We can make some consultancy with ADEs for the customer, depending on the customer size and depending their forecast, how much they are buying. We either provide it for free of charge, or we charge hourly rate, or just one bunch.
so the trainings which we give in Germany, they are about our product and solution, or at the same time about general machine safety?
It depends on the customer. It's really customized every time for customers. So if the customer says that I want to bring my automation department for a general machine safety training, then we can make this kind of training what I made this morning. If they know already the legislation and standards, and they want to know about our products and our software, we make the training accordingly.
I also remember we give some training from TÜV in Germany.
Yes. Yes. For example, I have been participating for the TÜV training. It's for FCS EM, Functional Safety Certification Engineering Machinery. So I have here my certification number from 2016, and I think it was last week or week before, or this week, at least in May, was scheduled TÜV training, and the next should be in autumn time. And Yasujiro Yoshida-san also participated and reached his certificate, and some country representatives are participating. There are 2 Chinese in the pipeline at the moment.
Chinese.
Yep. And I have been 5.5 years offer manager now in Germany, and before I was safety expert in country organization Finland. And there I was training customers for safety. I was training customers for pretty much the similar contents of what I have been presenting for you, but complete day for certificates, for standards. I have been training them for the products, for the engineering tools. I've been leading risk assessment teams for customers. So in this specific case, customer didn't have knowledge enough about, and they didn't want to make so deep training that they could have made it their own. So they hired me to lead the groups, assessment groups.
They hire you.
Yes. So I was working for Schneider Electric, but they made a contract with Schneider Electric that I will lead their risk assessment team. So we in Schneider Electric, specifically in country organizations, you're really free to do anything what you have skills and capability for. If you get a big customer, for big customers in Schneider Electric Finland, we had a policy that we give certain amount of specialist time for free of charge if it brings much of additional turnover. On the other hand, if the customer is smaller one, because typically big customers have capability. They have safety persons in their organization. So for the medium size or small ones, you can negotiate a package. But for someone from your organization, I would recommend to have TÜV certification, because then it's you can argument that you have passed the certification and you're knowledgeable for everything enough to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If we should focus on the safety market in Japan, we should do something.
Yeah. But then I see a little bit tiny difficulties when this joint venture is the one who is making the product sales. So would make sense if then I don't know in what level you have cooperation with holdings. As I understood that they are more or less trying to sell complete solutions for customers, and then they can sell also safety devices when it's complete solution.
Yeah, the relation is complicated.
Yeah.
If we plan to sell this product, we should buy from them and sell to customer.
Yeah, I learned that there are 6 different legal entities in Japan for Schneider Electric. Schneider Electric, Toshiba inverters, and this joint venture and.
Shall we go to answer?
Area is better.
Do you have any
I'm afraid 15 minutes is not sufficient for the next topics.
Okay.
Actually, I'm worried about.
So, do you have any shorter any questions which
yes,
we can
I
cover
have.
in 15 minutes?
Yes. I have some the concrete questions, but maybe it takes time a little bit. But
let's try.
Yeah, is it better to go lunch?
Yeah, I think so.
Place,
It's better. It's easy to find the place area.
Okay. Oh, fine. Then we go.
If after 12, it's, lots of people are coming out from the office, so the most of the restaurant is lots of people, so we cannot find the space.
Okay. Okay, so let's go.
So how about Nagoya and Osaka people? They're okay? Or?
12時半にまた再開するので、またその時につなぎ直します。
聞こえてますでしょうか？
はい、ミュートにしてます。なんかお金かかりますか？切った方がいいですか？
切った方がいいと思う。
じゃあ一回切ります。
はい。
12 時半で大丈夫ですかね。
12時半ってあるのがいいか。
Is it okay we start
多分大阪の方の理解度はそんなに高くないと思う。
4日でやる内容だから1日に詰め込むので、
テクニカルな用語がいっぱい出てきてるから、
Do you have a quick one?
もともとそれがある人は分かるかもしれないけど、でもすごく面白いけど。Okay, after lunch I will ask you something, if we have time. After lunch is technical part.
Offer just sales and not commercial.
Okay, let's go.